At 7 o'clock p.m. on February 6th, 2024. If everybody could rise to say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Clerk Williamson, call the roll.
Trustee Brown? Here. Trustee Clark? Trustee Lynch?
Here.
Trustee Roll?
Here.
Trustee Taylor? Trustee Williams?
Present.
Somebody like to make a motion for the approval of the board meeting minutes of January 16th, 2024.
Mayor, I had a correction on the minutes. I didn't put down the voting, when we voted in Trustee Brown. It wasn't in the minutes, but I made the update sense.
Okay.
And then if I can also add one correction. In the minutes, it had not stated that you sent an email to you, Mayor, Don, and all the trustees. I never received an email, so I don't think that that's accurate.
I never said that.
I know, that's why I'm saying the correction to the minutes.
So you're going to make a motion with those corrections? Okay, Trustee Roll, we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Clark, any additional questions? Deputy Clerk Williamson, call the roll.
Trustee Brown? Yes. Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Lynch?
Yes.
Trustee Roll?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Treasurer report, Treasurer Hart.
Bills payable January 31st, 2024, corporate $448,846.24, sewer and water $531,496.06, federal portion for fund $7,000, foreign fire insurance $218.16, TIP industrial park $6,880, Glenwood golf course $6,434.54. TIF Halsted North, $55,474. TIF Halsted South, $507.52. That's a total of all funds of $1,056,856.52.
Somebody like to make a motion to the bills payable?
So moved.
Trustee Williams and Trustee Gale. Any questions?
Yeah, the tip house itself, north, right, what was that ship for? I didn't see the transaction and stuff, just looking at it. Or, the tip house at north chair?
So anything that's right now is a tip house in the north, majority of that is for the fire station too.
Any other questions? Deputy Clerk Williamson, call the roll.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Trustee Roll?
Yes.
Trustee Lynch?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Payroll.
Payroll as of today, January 26, 2024, corporate with $141,412.54. So in water, $22,633.22. Holiday pay, $2,253.10. Paid on call, $14,048.65. Elected positions, $6,435.19. Glenwood golf course, $10,430.77. Vendor checks, $2,641.11. Overtime police, $6,426.41. Reimbursable of that amount is $343.75. Sewer and water, $5,510.39. Public works overtime, $2,967.14. Fire department stipend is $461.52. That's for economic development. We have a total payroll for $214,775.
Somebody like to make a motion to approve the bill?
So moved.
Trustee Lynch. Trustee Roll. Any questions?
I do, Chief, the payroll, the overtime, was that a result of?
This was payroll for the period of January 8th through January 21st. We had 78 hours of overtime, 20 hours of fall investigations for incidents and times, 20 hours for redundant time off coverage for corrections division, 11 and a half hours for stay over for late arrests, including reports transporting prisoners, 8 hours of field training officer training for our field training officers who are training our new recruits. 7 hours was for our on-call detective, and we had 10 hours for report. The watch commander, 6 hours, and part-time coverage, patrol coverage, 4 hours to cover extra patrol detail, and we had 4 hours of sick time covered, and reimbursable with the church fees on 4.5 hours.
So are we still short on vacancies?
We are full staff on paper, but not in the field. By that, I mean we have all our positions filled. However, one person is still in Triton College Police Academy. 2 other officers have just graduated Academy last month in December, so they're going to be in field training for the next 2.5 to 3 months. And we, as I said earlier, or last month, we have 1 officer who's on long-term medical leave due to non-duty related.
And so, just for my clarity, so specifically for court now, is that at Markham or court here?
Oh, either, most likely at Markham, not here. That's when officers make arrests, they go to court for different parts of the court phase, whether it's discovery, preliminary hearings, trials, things like that. Most often it's during normal business hours, and as you know, we're 24/7. So our officers who work midnights or afternoon shift go to
It's
court
their
for their time, their regular time off, so we have to compensate that. That's a contractual issue.
And then the officers that got overtime for training, could be done during their 8-hour shift?
No, not at all. That's field training. That's for the officers who are mentoring our new recruits who just graduated the police academy. Part of our collective bargaining agreement is that those specialty trained officers who are the field trainers train them for an entire shift for 3.5 to 4 months. And as part of that, they're compensated by 1 hour of overtime or compensatory time for every shift they train and recruit.
So the FTOs don't have a higher salary than just the patrol officers? They get overtime?
They're only compensated while they're actually training a recruit.
Okay.
So once our recruits are all done training, which like we have 2 there now, they'll complete mid-March, early April. We have another candidate who's in the police academy now. She will graduate, expect late April, early May, and she will be, if everything stays status quo, she will be our last recruit for hopefully a couple of years or so.
Okay, thank you. And then, Brian, the overtime in public works, is that for this water main break that happened this past weekend?
That would probably be anything from a water main break or any type of call out about. More likely the water main breaks.
Any other questions? Deputy Clerk Williamson, call roll.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Lynch.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
The meeting's now open to the public. You can come up here, just write your name and address down and press the board.
Good evening, everyone. John Birmingham, 850 East 193rd Place. I'm here again for the village of Glenwood regarding my concern regarding life and information. Thank you, Mrs. Janet Hadnot, for reporting and sharing the meeting. Again, I'm concerned about the lack of information shared with residents unreliable for residents to quickly assess due to technical difficulties and the village controlling meeting access. More than ever, access to information is needed. The village must use all forms of communication to keep the residents informed. The marquee still isn't working. We've had recent incidents with the BP incident over in Indiana. The tragic incidents in Temple Park and Joliet. Even with water main breaks, the community needs to be informed, and we must have all means of communication available. My other concern is lack of information. Black History Month. I researched surrounding communities for recognitions and events for Black History Month. South Holland, Park Forest, Midlothian, Madison, Richland Park, Vernon, Monroe, Evergreen Park, Evanston, Waukegan, Chicago, Gary, and Hammond all have things planned for Black History Month. Our village is over 70% African American, and there isn't any recognition to the contributions of women. Thanks to the work of many across the color line, Glenwood has a rich African American history. Glenwood was a stop on the Underground Railroad route. Glenwood had its first African American police chiefs in Brian Smith and Demetrius Cook. Glenwood also hired the first African American district school district 167 superintendent, Valerie Moore. Glenwood was the home of one of the longest serving Illinois school board members, Mr. John Lake. Glenwood has great people, people who work hard, people who are dedicated to the community. You as the board, the village, you have a responsibility to respect and protect the public, where we can truly say the village that we call home, where we enjoy being, is a place that anyone can come and live, work, and play.
Anybody else wish to address the board? Good afternoon.
Robert Maddox, 978 East Line, First of all, I'd like to congratulate the board on her appointment as trustee.
Thank you.
You gotta hit those, so it's gotta be green.
Okay. I said, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Brown on her appointment as trustee. And I have a few questions I'd like to ask. I've been watching the field house in Hickory Glen has been being restored or remodeled. And I have a question. The northeast corner of the building, the roof and the gutter system is rotted away. And so your contractors, whoever they are, they're inside doing work. All it takes is one good rain or heavy snow to melt. It's going to run everything they did inside. That should have been the first thing they did, was fix the roof on that corner. And the other thing is, you don't have like 3 or 4 people working there. Is it my understanding there was over $100,000 budgeted for this?
Chief, how much was that part of the contract? Was it 90?
It was right around 100 for that one, and yeah, the roof is scheduled on there, it's not leaking. They were waiting for weather, now they have it, so the roof will be done.
Okay. Well, $100,000, and they've been doing it for what, over a month, am I correct?
The month of January, yeah.
Well, $100,000, that job should have been done in 2 or 3 weeks at the most. I mean, and you know, last month, board homeowner association, which I don't recall them being notified, were they notified that they were going to start construction?
Yeah, there was communication from Tiffany from the building services.
I can't hear you.
Absolutely not. There was communication from Tiffany and building services.
To whom? To whom?
I can find out who she made communication to, but it was announced at several board meetings, but
People were sitting in there trying to have a board meeting, they said it was freezing and partially under construction.
so can I ask when is the next meeting?
It's supposed to be tomorrow, which is my next question. I'm sure it's not gonna be available tomorrow, right?
No, we're gonna have the Blakey Center available.
Okay, thank you. Was there any structural damage done in the building?
I'm sorry, what?
Structural damage
You can't hear you again.
in the field house? Structural damage in the field house?
There was there's no structural damage. We're just updating everything. We're taking out that office in the back to make it larger. So we're just updating everything.
Okay, and why is it they only have like 3 or 4 people working there every day?
We took the lowest bid on the property as we always do, and, you know, it's their business. We can't tell them how many people to bring out there.
Well, shouldn't they give you a timeline? I mean,
You know what the timeline is?
in my years of construction work, you know, we give a timeline.
What's the time?
6 weeks, I think it's February 15th, January 1, when they relocated the rentals. And I know we worked with basketball and football, had an event in there right before that.
Okay.
And it's still February 15th, they should be completed on the interior.
Okay.
And the next question is, do we have a budget yet?
Not yet, but we are working on it.
Okay. I mean, I think I asked this question about 5 months ago. I mean, why is it taking so long?
We're working on it.
We have a budget for this year.
Yeah,
We already have a budget for next year.
We're working on the next fiscal year.
Okay, so we don't have a balanced budget, right?
No, we have one from 23 to April 30th, 24. That budget is in place.
So it's been balanced.
That is in place, yes. We're working on, we're trying to get ahead of the game this year.
I'm not trying to be funny, but I just need an answer. I know you said it's in place, but that doesn't tell me that it's balanced. I just want to know, is it balanced?
It is balanced.
Okay, thank you. Because of, anyway, I spoke to you last year about the project, like, we have a lot of uneven sidewalks throughout the village. And they have a process called slap jacking, which they come out and they can raise concrete for like a quarter of what it costs to replace those sections of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
At least some of them should be able to be done. And you told Bill while I was here to check into it, and I haven't heard anything more about it. They have various companies that do
Joe, can you look into that?
it. Because my wife
Actually, total replacement where they can jack it up.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Look at-
the public walks?
Yes.
Yeah, my wife actually said a trip that fell because of an uneven sidewalk last year when we were out walking. And that shouldn't happen. And when we have water main breaks, why aren't the residents notified? Because when you have a water main break, there should be an automatic boil water. And even if you don't shut the water completely off, you still can have a siphoning effect. Somebody's gonna get sick. Because of that.
We do post it on Facebook.
I'm laying in my bed every day watching TV. I'm not gonna be looking at Facebook. I mean, it should be a robocall. That's a health hazard. That should be a robocall automatic.
We keep it.
Chief, can Econ, can we do a reverse 911 call with Econ for main breaks?
Right now, I believe it's placed on the website.
Yeah.
And we could move to a call scenario, because they just have that new alerting system that can sectionalize it, so that could be accomplished.
Okay.
They used to have, I used to get them. I used to get the robocalls or whatever. What happened to
Well, robocalls go community-wide for storm events and things like that.
Right.
We never used it for water mains where it's a certain section.
Right.
Because the way the water system is, if you could isolate that one block, which is hopefully always the case, then you don't want to run the whole area. And they always keep the water running at a pressure while they're fixing it, while you don't get the contaminants.
Well, that is not exactly true. I was a pipe fitter for 32 years.
Correct.
And anytime you had a main break, you had to tell everybody to boil their water, because even when the water's flowing, it's regurgitating into the ground. Who knows what's in the ground. and it can siphon into the water system. A lot of times it does. So that's not exactly true. That's just a safety and health precaution.
We can address that, but definitely the new system through Econ, we can get that set up so Joe can have access to that and isolate it by block.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your, oh, one more question. We just purchased a $66,000 Chevy Tahoe, right?
Was it the cost? It was 66,000.
Okay.
The only vehicle that's been purchased is a Dodge Durango.
I'm sorry?
The only vehicle that has recently been purchased is a Dodge Durango.
So the Tahoe hasn't been purchased yet? Because it was on the minutes for last month.
No, what we had on there was to get the permission from the board for us to be able to get put on a list, so that once the prices come available, they would be at least up by the top of the list. That list would not be, well, they won't have prices until late spring, so that is all on the board right now.
So the Tahoe is off the list? Or you're saying it never was on there?
It was never on the list. What was requested for the board for us to get on the list, which meant we had to call the state bid and say, we want to get on the list. At that point, there's no cost, there's no risk. If you don't take delivery of that vehicle, you don't pay a dime.
But there are plans to try to buy this vehicle, correct?
At some point, yes.
May I ask, what is it replacing?
A dilapidated vehicle in the fire department.
I'm sorry.
A vehicle that needs to be replaced in the fire department.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Leon Fields, 307, Minerva. I have some photos I'd like to share with the board. I'm going to give them to Ms. Williams. For those who may have not been on the board, let me give you a little history. When I say we, I'm talking mostly of the people who live in Glenwood Point, but others in the village have spoken up too. We presented and played a video at a village board meeting where the Reverend Sharpton interviewed an environmental expert. The main point of this interview was environmental racism. The point of the video was made, you don't pay people to kill you. We have been before the board since 2021, complaining about trucking hubs, developers, promoting trucking businesses, and pollution. We even read a poem written by one of our members about Glenwood now versus what Glenwood used to be. We have not received any substantial answers or real feedback to our issues of health, pollution, and quality of life. Economic, environmental racism. The EPA under Donald Trump's presidency concluded environmental racism is real. People of color are much likely to live near polluters and breathe polluted air, even as the agency sought to roll back regulations on pollution. Source, The Atlantic, February 28, 2018. The facts, people of color are likely to die from environmental causes. Source, ABC, Equity Report, October 26, 21. A little bit about pollution, the ingredients of pollution. And we know that pollution comes in cars, trucks, etc. And also it comes from fuel production and additional emissions from refining companies and distributions of fuel. The following are major pollutants from motor vehicles. Particle matter PM. One type of particle matter is soot, seen in vehicle exhaust. Fine particles less than 1/10 the diameter of human hair pose a serious threat to human health as they can penetrate deep into the lungs. PM can be primary pollution or secondary pollution from hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxides, and sulfur dioxide. Diesel exhaust is a major contributor to PM pollution. Volatile organic compounds, or VOC. These pollutants react with nitrogen oxide in the presence of sunlight to form ground-level ozone, a main ingredient in smog. Though beneficial in upper atmosphere, ground level, the gas irritates the respiratory systems and causes coughing, choking, and reduced lung capacity. VOC emitted from cars, trucks, and buses, which include the toxic air pollutants benzene, aldehyde, and butadiene, are linked to different types of cancer. Nitrogen oxides. These pollutants form ground-level oxidants and particulate matter secondary, also harmful as primary pollutants. They can cause pneumonia, and influenza. Carbon monoxide, CO, the odorless, colorless, and poisonous gas is formed by the combination of fossil fuels, such as gasoline, and emitted primarily from trucks and cars. When inhaled, these block the brain, heart, and other vital organs. Sulfur dioxide, SO2, power plants and motor vehicles create this pollution by burning sulfur-containing fuels, especially diesel. Sulfur dioxide can react in the atmosphere and form fine particles, and as other air pollutants pose a serious health condition for young children and for asthmatics. The BP refinery in Whiting was criticized by Carol Marsh, an administrator of the Facebook group BP Whiting Watch, for a lack of transparency on the company's part, who failed to alert the community. Susan Thomas, Director of Legislation and Policy at the Just Transition Northwest Indiana, criticized BP and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, saying they looked the other way on oversight and enforcement, long owed to this region. Both benzene and hydrogen sulfide are highly toxic and can be fatal in high concentrations. Exposure to high levels of benzene can cause dizziness, headaches, tumors, unconsciousness, and leukemia. Before the major power outage 7 months ago, a partial power supply resulted in the release of gases such as sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide across 3 Indiana counties. The refinery permit is up for renewal February 8th, 6 o'clock at East Chicago High School for public comments. Source, the Daily Southtown, January 26, 2024. I would invite you to read the comments on rain, where neighbors in Calumet City, Lansing, Linwood, and Glenwood complained of being sickened by the effects of the gases during the last burn-off BP had. Source, Ring Doorbell. We talk about the traffic and traffic accidents that trucks bring on. I'm not going to get into it because you simply have to listen to your reports on road conditions, etc., and you'll see that trucks cause major accidents and result in major injuries and major pileups. Trucks have blind spots. The operator cannot see to the side, to the back, nor in most cases to the front, where he can actually predict the distances. In Glenwood, there's a need for repaving intersection of Glenwood Tire and Glenwood Lansing Road, each to the bridge crossing 394. I brought this up, I think, 2 meetings ago, and I think, Mr. Mayor, you said that you called the commissioners. This is said because Glenwood has roads that are coming apart. Glenwood has roads that are, I guess you might say, potholes, and Public Works, I guess it's Public Works, or I don't know if it's the county, but these potholes have been filled, and I commend them for that. But nevertheless, the asphalt is breaking out. When you drive from Homewood through Glenwood, there's an area at 187th Street, right off of Halsey, Day Court, down to Pleasant that had been repaved. And we had breaking up, and we had major potholes, and I'm glad that was done. I complained about that, that's been done. But with the exception of that, when you drive through Glenwood, it's like riding in a covered wagon. Especially when you make the intersection from Glenwood Tire Road to Main Street. It's broken up, you go bump, and a lot of that's caused by trucks. The ripples in the road are caused by trucks. The sad part about it is you travel from Glenwood all the way to Munster, Indiana. When you leave Glenwood at the bridge going towards Stony Island, everything has been repaved all the way down to Calumet Avenue. Glenwood is the only area where we're dealing with this type of degrading and a situation that oftentimes I think people look and wonder, what is Glenwood? Why is Glenwood like it is? Glenwood, Lansing, and Munster are enjoying new road. Glenwood, we're dealing with potholes, separation of pavement, and bumpity bump, and it's not good for the new cars. There's a perception. If you look at the pictures that I gave you, you'll see one trash. Never saw this before. Trash from Glenwood, Tire Road on Cottage Road, all the way up to the cemetery. It's because of what's going on in Cottage Road. If you look at those pictures, you'll see where they're doing God knows what. I guess they're doing trailer and camp parking ground on the east side of Cottage Road. Our friends over at United Rentals, they have a location here in Glenwood, on Glenwood Dyer and Chicago Heights, where they rent equipment. Over on Cottage Grove, what they're doing, they're parking cargo wagon or cargo boxes, and they're stacking them, and one of the pictures shows that it looks like they're going 3 tiers. I've never seen this, with the exception of Harvey, Illinois on 155th Street. I've never seen the stacking of tiers as that. When people see this, they figure, hey, this is a dump. And that's why we're getting so much garbage and debris spread along Cottage Grove Avenue. You can see it in the pictures. Also, we have major polluters over in Chicago Heights. There's pictures of some of the pollution that's going on over there. Now, there's a perception that when you see what you see and it's a dump, it's okay to throw trash. And that's what the people are doing. Prior to these trucking companies doing trailers and doing truck parking, these were green land. And they were green space. And we did not have this issue. This is something recent. All of that truck parking, etc., is only 8 blocks from our residence in Glenwood. 8 blocks from our residence in Glenwood. That doesn't happen in communities. In white communities, this would not occur. They would not accept it. And I don't know why we accept it. And there's no reason for us to accept it. The perception is that Glenwood is a dump. Let me cut to the chase. We have trucks polluting and running past our 3 schools. The 3 schools right here on the corner. probably, I would say, and I would guess to say, probably deal with probably 60 to 70% of our students in Glenwood. We have those trucks running through there on a continual basis. Some of those kids will spend up to 9 years inhaling fumes from those trucks. We have apartments on Glenwood Lansing, Glenwood Dyer. We have condos. We have homes. We have a shopping strip mall. We have a rehab retirement home on Cottage Road and Glenwood Dyer Road, where we have senior citizens, and a lot of them are ailing, who will sit out in the summer and inhale these deadly fumes coming from these trucks. What I think we can do and what we can work together to do is that we can reroute these trucks down State Street. We don't need these trucks polluting with our fragile students and with our senior citizens and with our home girls. If we can reroute these trucks down State Street away from our residents, when we stood in front of this board, they told us if we allowed this one developer to set up a truck sales, that Glenwood could reroute the trucks away from Glenwood and down Girard Road. If we could do that, then we certainly need to do this to protect our residents. This thing with BP only agitated people that have breathing issues. And I wish you would read the comments of your neighbors. Some of them have bronchitis, some of them have liver issues, some of them have kidney issues, and some of them have asthma. And we're not doing any good. So I hope, Glenwood, that we can turn the corner on this and we can take care of our elderly, our children, and our diseased residents. Thank you.
Again, just so you know, President of South Florida Mayors and Managers, we just opened up an environmental justice committee. So regionally, we're going to try and do something. It's a 45 community organization. So we just started that for a regional approach to this.
Yeah, and then it couldn't be done soon enough, Mr. Mayor. It's a major problem, and it's countrywide. I tip my hat off to a bunch of high school kids in Baltimore who have came out and put the issue in the forefront. Also, Indiana has sent in a grant where the residents of Gary are coming in with their comments, open public meetings, where they can vent off some of the situations they're getting from some of the things that are going on. And it would be good, Mr. Mayor, if we could do that, where we could have residents' input as to when the communities come together. I think that would be a key thing, and I think it would help in the future. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to address the board? Okay. We don't have any communications from the mayor's office. Attorney's report, John Donahue.
Thank you, Mayor. And we just have one item. It's approval of a sub-recipient agreement under the American Rescue Plan Act for state and local fiscal recovery. Yeah, actually the board previously approved this preliminary version a few meetings ago. Cook County received quite a bit of funding from the federal American Rescue Plan Act, and they've allocated funding for various stormwater activities. One of those activities that this grant would fund was the cost of engineering the outfall from, I think Dave, is it Brookwood Point?
That's correct.
Brookwood Point into Thorn Creek. And the grant is, Dave, $75,000?
Correct.
Okay. And that's what this is now the formal final version, and the county is looking for us to approve that so the work can proceed.
Would somebody like to make a motion for the approval of a sub-recipient agreement, American Rescue Plan Act, State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund Assistance Scheme number 21.027. Somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Clark and Trustee Lynch. Any questions?
Dave, we have until December this year to submit the proposal for those plans, right? It has to be submitted by December 24th.
I believe that's what it says. I don't have it in front of me, but it should be no problem.
So has there been, since the original plans, have been any changes?
No, I sent everybody a report when we did the preliminary investigation. We did some televising and some other things, but no, to do the final design should be right on schedule.
So will that $75,000 cover the remaining cost of the design?
Yeah, when the county was calling different municipalities asking for projects, we specifically suggested this one at that amount.
So following the submission and the approval of it, what would next steps be?
Look for construction funding.
Have we started that?
Always looking for construction funding. There's other sources maybe the county would fund construction. There's CDBG, there's capital bill wish list. We're always looking for funding.
And that's what I was looking at. I don't know if you can answer this, Dave or John. I know in the language it illustrated that we would not be eligible for the other grant-funded projects through the cities. Did I digest it correctly? So would that mean that those grants, no?
I don't think accepting this funding excludes Glenwood from any other funding.
I would hope not, but when I saw that, I was interested in getting
I don't believe so.
Yeah, our hope would be that, once we complete this work,
Our hope would be that once we complete this engineering design, that the next step would be for the county to fund the actual construction as well.
So we wouldn't be restricted from.
Well, we can't get additional money for this project. You know, they don't want you to double dip. You're taking the county's money, and you're taking someone else's money, and you're taking pretty much in your pocket. So that's why that language, I think, is in there.
Thank you, thanks.
Any other questions? Deputy Clerk Williamson, call roll.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Lynch?
Yes.
Trustee Roll? Trustee Taylor? Trustee Williams?
Anything else, John?
no, that's it.
Okay, Village Administrator Brian Mitchell.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, and residents, and other guests in the meeting this evening. A couple of updates. As you are aware, the board has the agreement for Lexapol. Since then, we've already started the process with the fire department to hopefully get some grant funds for some things that they need there. As well, on your next agenda, I plan to have the Miller and Cooper updated agreement for this year as well. I will plan to have the Woodley audit agreement in front of you, the engagement letter, and Sarah from Woodley will be here, as well as John from Miller and Cooper. Tonight we have an item that's going to be before you for approval, but before I wanted to ask Ms. Ron if he would approach, I wanted to kind of go back, take a step back in terms of where we are with the IT environment as it relates to the village of Glenwood and some of the improvements that we started off since they had come back to the village of Glenwood, and then we'll look at the firewall replacement for approval. So Ron, if you can quickly go through that.
Good evening, everyone. So in your report packets, there's a couple reports in there. One of them is from back in 2021 before Brandon took over. And what it is a network audit that basically grades the IT network on infrastructure security and managed support services. At that time, this is June of 2021, there was a score of 50, which is.
Excuse me, is your mic?
Oh, yeah, I'm just short. I'll bring it down here. Sorry. So, at June of 2021, this was before we started. It was kind of like our pre-network assessment. The network was graded on infrastructure security and managed support services. It scored a 50 out of 100. Okay. Now, since that time, if you look at the packet, your score is brought up as of January 2024 to a 93. So in that time, we made a bunch of improvements to the network, including replacing the servers, multi-factor authentication, endpoint protection, responsive. These are all kind of security type things. We updated all the Sonic Wall licensing. We installed an on-site and off-site backup system, so if something does happen, all the data is stored off-site as well. We replaced all the end-of-life PCs that were still out there. End-of-life meaning that they're not supported by the manufacturer anymore, and so they're not getting the updates that they're supposed to. Like Microsoft does this every few years, as you know. And then we also do dark web monitoring as well, which means we go out on the dark web and see if there's any data out there, just data that's in jeopardy. So that's what we've done in the past 4 years. There was an incident at Ecom last month where one of the members' villages was hacked, and they put out a bulletin that's, let everybody know about that. However, the village network here was safe. When that system was deployed, 2018, 2017, way back when, Chief Walsh was at the meeting with us. Our engineer at the time actually did notice that that system was wide open, meaning that if any of the villages got hacked, it could potentially come into the network here at any other number. So what we did at that time, we put firewalls in between your network and all the other in the Ecom to prevent that from happening. Something happened last month and we were safe, so it worked out. So along those lines, there are some firewalls that are end of life coming up soon. Actually, next month is the main village firewall is coming up soon. Just like the other appliances that's coming end of life. So we're going to need to replace this. So that's kind of the other reason I'm here. The good thing is there is a proposal in your packet as well, but because I don't know if you remember when we did the contract a few years ago, we issued credit after the 24th month. That credit will actually cover this project. So it's kind of a wash.
I was just going to ask you that. I thought that was very good.
In fact, your credit is higher than the project cost.
So what's our current credit?
Or your current credit? I believe it was 11,000. I think this project's about 9,000.
So how much is that? 23. So, I just gonna say, how much is the project?
About 9,000.
23.
9,023. And your credit is
11,000.
I think it's 10,988 or something.
Okay, go ahead. What laws are at end of life? What firewalls specifically are end of life that we are?
The village, which is the main one, and then there's one at Glenwood. That's, and the Glenwood one also has to be replaced because the throughput for the internet connection isn't high enough because it's such an old firewall. So Glenwood updated their internet speed. However, this firewall can't keep up with it.
So when was the last time the village and Glenwood's firewall was updated?
Let's see. When I read the house system, well, the villages was before we got here the first time, which was pre-2014. So it's 10 years old, not more.
And Glenwood was?
Glenwood is, I don't know exactly, but it's probably 8-year range.
And prior, this could be a decision of maybe before I was on board, but Mayor, maybe Kevin and Brian, something might have been before you, Brian, but was there a specific reason we didn't do all the firewalls at the same time so that when it's time, when one hits the end of a life show, we're not doing this every 4 or 5 years, different areas in the village?
So, I can answer that. The original firewall was here before anything, before we were here, so there was no way to do that, and same with Glenwood. Next year, all the rest of the firewalls are at the end of life. So those are all the firewalls we replaced when Ecom deployed that system. Those two were not here at that time. So they will all be replaced will be budgeted to replace next year.
So the one here and Glenwood was not here at the time.
No. The other ones, the police, all the fires, public works were all replaced at the same time because of that lead time.
So then which will require replacement next year?
Which ones? Let's see, police, fire one, public works. There's a total of 6. Off the top of my head, probably fire station 2 as well. And 2 others.
So with the construction of the new construction of the fire station, will that impact anything with the new firewall?
Little.
So with the new construction at the fire station? Or would we have?
No.
That's all right.
Any additional questions? Clerk Williamson, I'm sorry, you get a first and a second.
Yeah, there's only 2 for right now, for this year. Next year, all the other ones are, all the ones will be replaced at the same time when ECOM deploy their system. So it's a lot.
One more question. What's the lifespan on it?
Well, it depends on the model.
The model that you recommending for us to get.
Oh, it's the last one lasted about 10 years, so probably close to that, I would say.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion for the approval of firewall replacement?
End of life, EOL stands for.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, the EOL stands for end of life 2024. That's what the proposal says. Firewall replacement, EOL.
That's right, that's how we have it on our agenda.
Yeah, 2024.
Approval of firewall replacement for person of IT security with the Heritage Technology Solutions in the amount of $9,023. Somebody like to make a motion? Trustee Roll.
Second.
Trustee Lynch. Any additional questions?
To be purchased with the existing credit, correct?
Would you like to amend your motion?
Yeah, I mean,
That's all good. Yeah. Deputy Clerk Williamson, call roll.
Trustee Brown. I have a question.
Sure.
How long is this gonna take?
How long it's going to take? That will depend on when we can get the equipment in. But we,
Say if you got the equipment tomorrow.
tomorrow, we respond to you guys very quickly. I think the department has to attest to that. So yeah, it'll be about a week once we get it.
Any other questions?
Do we ask a question?
We're not supposed to take questions from now, so. Go ahead.
My question was, apart from the IT fire department, firewall, apart from that, is the city experiencing any more IT serious threats?
Not at this time. Some of the improvements that I mentioned earlier on, so I probably should not use the acronym. So MFA things for multi-factor authentication. So that's having to get into the network systems with multi-factor, password and code. So that's that. We have endpoint detection, which is kind of what we would call a hyper antivirus. So it's antivirus, but it also uses artificial intelligence to detect any type of anomalies in the system. So if, for instance, we detect computer sending out files to laptop boarding, this system can actually quarantine that computer and not let it affect anything else in the network. It works out, and then you come in.
We are using AI.
Yeah, so yeah, they just upgraded this. September, let's say, that we installed this.
Okay, Deputy Clerk Williamson, call roll.
Trustee Brown? Yes. Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Lynch?
Yes.
Trustee Roll? Yes. Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Ron, thank you for coming, and also thank you for fixing my computer this time.
No problem. Like I said, I'll respond as fast as we can.
That's good, thank you. Department reports, Glenwood, Phil Robbins.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board, residents and guests. We have before you 2 items as recommended by the golf committee. We have our two members of the golf committee here, Chairman Howard Martin and Mike Clark. First item, seeking approval for the sale of 50 2017 Yamaha golf carts for $1,300 each, totaling $65,000 to Botero Golf Cart LLC.
So why don't you explain what your game plan is with the carts?
So last spring, the board approved an order of a new fleet of carts. So we have 74 carts sitting at our dealership here in Chicago for delivery. However, we have to sell our current fleet to make room for that incoming fleet for this spring, for this upcoming golf season. We sent out, looked for several bids. Kind of give you a background on this, last year when we went out for bid, there were several companies interested, and the bids were considerably higher. However, the market has drastically changed. Basically, after the pandemic, the manufacturing of carts came back around, and a lot of the vendors like Yamaha, Club Car, E-Z-Go, all the manufacturers of these golf carts took on a surplus of trade-in fleets. So they have estimated between 40 and 50,000 trade-ins, which drastically reduced the value of our current fleet. So the best we came up with, there was 2 companies that bid on it. The best we got was $1,300. We have a fleet of 70. I should backtrack a little bit. We have a fleet of 70. 20 of those we put in all new batteries in the last 14 months to keep them going. To give you a background, these electric golf carts have a bank of 6 batteries. And when you replace them, you can't just replace one because it'll drain the other ones that are good. So you have to replace all the batteries at a cost of $1,200, not including labor per cart. So we put in $1,200, we invested in these 20 carts. The committee discussed it at length, and we decided to keep those 20, keep 10 for maintenance and or current fleet we use, so that will allow us not to have to rent extra carts for big outings. So we're gonna hang on to 10, and we're gonna sell 10 individually at a later date. So we're asking for a minimum of $2,500 for those 10 carts to at least recoup our costs we put into them these last 14 months. Which brings us back to selling the original 2017 50 carts for the $1,300 apiece, totaling $65,000.
Chairman Moore, did you want to say anything? We saw you were here.
No, sir.
I mean, Howard.
No, sir.
Chairman Martin, I should say. Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to approval to sell 50 2017 Yamaha carts for $1,300 each, totaling $65,000? Trustee Roll. Do we have a second? Trustee Clark. Do we have any additional questions? Deputy Clerk Williams, to call roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Lynch.
Yes.
Trustee Clark. Trustee Brown.
I'm sorry. Sure. Phil, what's the lifetime of these cars? How often should they be replaced?
So with the batteries, the manufacturers only warranty them for 4 years. So typically we do a 5-year lease, and we always try to get a couple years out of them, which we did, these being 2017, and they're just at the end of the life cycle. And once the batteries start going, you have to replace the whole bank. And then the 7-year-old car, there's also other moving parts. There's the motor that drives it, so it's just, if you get 7 years out of a car, whether it be gas or electric, that's a good life cycle.
And so the ones that we have ordered, they are gas?
No, they are electric.
They're electric.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, item 2, Lee, are you gonna do it or Phil?
I can help Lee out if you have any questions, certainly answer them. We're seeking approval of an equipment purchase or a 5-year municipal lease. It is to replace 2 green mowers and 3 gators. You should have in your packet, there was the municipal lease through, I believe it's through Wells Fargo. It is a 5-year lease. You pay 6 months of the year. Usually it's always the in-season months, May through October, so it's 30 months, 51, 78, 24 per month, 30 payments over 5 years, totaling $155, $347.20.
Can you explain why we need these?
These are replacing the original, how old are they?
They're 2011. We're in the same scenario as the carts. Our fleet is overdue 5 years already. Ours is 2011. This is up to 2017. So we're overdue. The past 5 years, we're in need of so much. So these are the only pieces of equipment that we're desperately need. But we need about $1 million worth of equipment in a matter of another 5 years. We start now. When are we gonna? This is a business. Golf course is a business that needs to be run. Like the fire department, the police department, they need to give every so many years. But we're overdue. The golf course is overdue. And it's amazing how the prices were, rising. So 2011, we paid for a fairway mower. We have 3 fairway mowers. We bought them for $45,000 a piece. Right now, they're $75,000 to $80,000 a piece. That's just 3 mowers there. We got the triplex that we're in need right now. They're $45,000 a piece. The carts are the same thing. They used to be $7,000. They're almost $11,000. So we're running out of time. I mean, it's a matter of time. Honestly, the irrigation system is getting old. It's 2003. That was brand new in 2002. So it's 20-some years old. It's over. Everything's getting overdue at the golf course.
So 2011 was the last time we bought a commercial mower for the golf course? I thought we approved the lease for mowers.
No,
3 years
it's
ago.
a package. I'm talking about a package. We have a lot of equipment. So we just buy as we go with the years the need, because they're really expensive. So.
I understand that, but just for my clarity, we did purchase commercial lawn mowers about 3 years ago, didn't we, Phil?
So they did purchase 2 greens mowers, correct me if I'm wrong, but 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
So what he's doing is replacing the other 2.
So a little background on this, the greens mowers and fairway mowers, they go out. Greens mowers go out every day. So they incur a lot of hours on these mowers. So what he's doing is replacing, he's taking the 2 that he purchased 3 years ago, he's going to convert those to go over to tees and approaches. So it's a little bit higher grass, doesn't have to cut as low as the greens mowers, and the greens mowers we're gonna get the new greens mowers to replace those. So we're still using the original equipment that was purchased. I thought it was 4 years ago, but I could be wrong. So this is just replacing 2 old Toros
We're gonna replace 2 of them. Correct. Of the 4.
We're swapping, yeah, essentially swapping them, we're continuing to use them, we're just rehabbing them to cut different height curves.
So does this lease include maintenance or warranties for the batteries or parts?
They're certainly under warranty, so but the equipment will be under warranty, I'm sure the terms on that.
So the ones from 2011, what happened that those didn't come up for renewal for replacement for lease, if they were on lease then?
Well, as we did with these, we own them now, or almost owning them, so we buy them out at the end of the lease.
So, this isn't my lane, and so forgive my questions, I just want to understand it. So have we considered possibly, because even with leasing, it sounds like we're still taking the onus of responsibility of replacing, whereas we should ownership of them as opposed to getting the benefit of having the perks that come with lease of the maintenance, the repairs, the replacement. Would it make sense to contract this out to a landscaping company? Because at over close to $160,000 for just 2 mowers over 5 years, would it be more feasible? I don't know. Has the golf committee explored that? Would it be feasible to just contract? Because even to his point, there are several other pieces of large commercial equipment that we're behind and needs replacement. So would it make sense to consider contracting this stuff out?
I don't know of any landscaping companies that maintain a golf course. Just the equipment's.
So trustee Lynch, if I could just kind of jump into your question a little bit. And I can understand the contract now, but just like Phil said, they don't have the same type of equipment for cutting the greens. Case in point, last year, Mayor you remember, University Park ran into the same issue. They tried to contract it out to landscapers, and they basically destroyed it. They thought they could come with regular mowers and do the same job, and they couldn't. So I think, looking at it being a revenue-generating facility, I think these are the right decision to make sure that those that are going to play golf there are happy with the course is well maintained, and then we have staff there to, under Lee's direction, to run the mowers and make sure that they stay up to speed as best we can.
Oh, I agree. It's a beautiful course. I love it. I wish I knew how to play better than that. But I just, that's stunning to me. Again, I didn't know that landscaping companies didn't have the whereabouts to cover that. So, Phil, is there any type of communication we can get on what further equipment will require replacement, or that's in need of, as he was alluding to, whatever those articles are?
As the golf committee meets, yes, we several times a year, we talk about replacing equipment down the road, and we'll come back in the future once the equipment gets older and we see how the.
I mean, because it just based on what I heard, there's obviously some already identified items that require replacement relatively soon.
We just have to make sure we have the budget for it.
No, that's fine. I just like to know, just so that we know when it's getting ready to prepare for 24-25 budget, we know what the need is. So that's all.
Somebody like to make a motion for the approval of equipment purchase to? Okay, go ahead.
One question.
Trustee Rowe actually attended the meeting.
Yes, I did attend this meeting, so a lot of the information I'm familiar with. I think the one thing for me, I do agree with the purchase. The actual lease agreement is not there. I do see a quote sheet from Wells Fargo here, but that's not the actual lease agreement or contract. And I would really like to see that and identify which charges inside this, because there's some additional charges in addition to just the equipment itself. I do see the payment quoted there and the term, but that doesn't tell me what's inside there. But I do agree with the purchase amount of the equipment, but I would like to see it. And I think we had asked for that earlier in as a conversation.
So would that change the total amount that's on the agenda? Bring us back to the details of what comprises that cost.
I spoke with our rep from the, I don't have the name of the company in front of me, but the distributor for the John Deere, and the lease total payments would be that $155,427. That is I don't know the exact terms of it. I don't know my math, but it's interest rates around, I think around 3.6% annually, I think it was.
Can you get a copy of that and email it to all the trustees?
Certainly.
Okay. Trustee Brown, any questions?
Yeah, just a quick question. As far as I think you mentioned something about the warranty, there is a warranty. Can you include that also, like the warranty, how, what is covered, how long is the warranty, police, et cetera, if that does exist? I think that'd be helpful, just for everybody to know, like when this breaks, is under warranty, or how long, or when it expires, et cetera.
I thought that was on there.
I think it is. It is. It wasn't.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion for the approval of equipment purchase to John Deere green mowers, 3 gators, 5-year seasonal municipal lease with a $1 buyout in the amount of $5,178.24 per month. Payments Monday through October 30th. Payments over 5 years totaling $155,347.20. Anybody like to make a motion? Trustee Lynch. Do you have a second? Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Brown. Any additional questions? Deputy Clerk Williamson, call roll.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Lynch? Trustee Roll?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor? Trustee Williams?
Is there any new business? Any old business?
I'd like to ask Mr. Fields.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to commend you on the information that you brought to us today. And at the meeting, at the end of the meeting, would you mind sharing that with me so I can have some copies?
Certainly will, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Any old business?
Thank you, Brian, for the description.
The descriptions, the last meeting I asked descriptions, thank you so very much, sir. It makes it so much easier.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn? Trustee Taylor. Trustee Lynch. Any questions? Deputy Clerk Williamson, call roll.
Trustee Brown? Trustee Clark? Trustee Lynch? Trustee Roll? Trustee Taylor? Trustee Williams?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight.